Hey guys, Sleepy Reader here. Got another quickie for you. Quickie review. This time I'm gonna cover, excuse me, Secret Service by Mark Millar and Dave Gibbons, and the latest DC Universe presents Black Lightning and Blue Devil by Mark Andreyko and Robson Rocha and Eau Claire Albert. So let me start with Black Lightning and Blue Devil. I think I remember Blue Devil from the 80s as kind of a goofy superhero, like I think maybe a movie stuntman or a movie actor who got trapped in this magic suit that gave him powers, but he could never get out of the suit. So far in this, the Blue Devil seems to be a teenager or young 20-something grandson of someone who owns the Blue Devil suit in an old rundown movie studio. And then there's Black Lightning, who I really loved the first Black Lightning comics in the very early 80s or late 70s, whenever they came out. And I'm not quite sure why. Partially because of Black Lightning's main villain, the Whale. And the Whale returns here, looking more disturbing looking than he did in his original incarnation, but still a very cool Kingpin-esque villain. So I guess what we've got is a rebooted Blue Devil and rebooted Black Lightning, and now located in LA. And Black Lightning is still a school teacher, but maybe not in the ghetto, or not in a all-black ghetto anyway. I probably won't be able to find the scene where he's teaching, but he seems to have students who are mostly white, or maybe white, Hispanic, and African American. And they look mostly, if not all, white. So anyway, that kind of changes things, and he also seems somehow younger. So it's the beginning of, it's not a full story in this issue, it's the beginning of a plot involving both Black Lightning and the Blue Devil coming up against the Whale's mob and clashing with each other and arousing the ire of the Whale, who wants them knocked off. It's kind of a standard old-fashioned superhero story without any particular twists or kinks or anything unusual about it. I think it would be great for a younger comic book reader, someone who hasn't seen it all before, because I think it's well enough done on that level. For myself, I just sort of enjoyed it. You know, I didn't hate it. Didn't make any missteps. There's some really good moments in the art. Yeah, I thought most of the art was quite good. I think the coloring didn't serve the art that well. I've been talking about coloring lately, and I really noticed it in here. I mean, at first glance the coloring seems fine, but as you're trying to follow the story and stuff, the coloring seems to obscure the action a little bit. But I thought the drawing part was well done. So, you know, this, of course, it might get uglier and too violent later on, but this might be a comic book that I would give to a 12-year-old, and that would be a good comic book for them. It's a little scary for someone my daughter's age, but there you are. A lot of stuff is for her. I mean, the Whale, just the Whale alone, is a pretty intense, and people are killed in here. But I don't know how DC could get some of their comic books to a younger, let different ages audiences know which are the right comics for them. Whenever they kind of do an officially kids comic, they're usually pretty lousy, and you know, this is done with the integrity of a regular superhero comic book. And I think that's what kids want. They want to be treated to the real superheroes, not some fake, to the side superheroes that are meant just for kids. So anyhow, I had an okay time reading this comic book, but I wouldn't say run out and buy it. I guess this is where I stand. Unless you happen to be really curious about what they're doing with Blue Devil and Black Lightning. I particularly like the way they handled Blue Devil. He looked really cool, and it was kind of this kid in the Blue Devil suit just learning what it can do, so I kind of would look forward to more of that. So far the suit's not attached to his body, but I assume that's coming. Black Lightning, they tried to take away the kind of racist connotation by giving him actual black lightning, but I still found it was kind of racist in the sense that all the gang members were Hispanic or black. So, except for the whale himself, you have this sense of people in gangs are always minorities. So I don't know. Secret Service, I enjoyed this a lot, but this is issue 4 of 6, I believe, so the story's going to be wrapping up soon. They kind of dropped their B plot, though, which is the menace that's in the background is not shown on stage. It's referred to that they're figuring out who must be the person who's kidnapping celebrities, and how that ties in with some of the other stuff we saw earlier on, like the wedding party where everyone, because of some beam that was shot at them, killed each other. That whole side of things is not very active, but the training and development of, and now I've forgotten his name, the nephew of the James Bond-like secret agent, is continuing to be interesting and developing. I'd say that this is not like a great comic book, but I'm enjoying it anyway. It's just sort of fun to see a slightly different twist on the whole James Bond thing. I don't know if the whole a lot of it's class-based. Is the nephew comes from the projects, I guess, as we would call them in the U.S. He's the white projects, I guess. Usually in the cliche of the U.S., it's projects are minority characters, but there's probably projects everywhere in all cities. So anyway, he comes from the poor projects, and he doesn't fit in at the secret agent school where everyone is so upper class. I don't know if in the U.S. there are class divisions, but they're more subtle, so they wouldn't, someone from the ghetto or whatever might actually be considered cool by the richer kids, and all that kind of stuff. And it's not so clear by the way people dress and the way they act and the way they talk. We have more regional differences, I suppose. There's prejudice against people with southern accents and stuff. So if you did this in a U.S. context, maybe you would do, snooty people from Massachusetts versus someone from Appalachia or something like that. So I don't know how accurate the class distinction stuff in here is. It seems like a kind of a fallback story whenever you're writing about England, and I don't know, if it's that accurate. Dave Gibbons' art is not his best art. There's a sense of it being a bit rushed here, but it's still very good, sort of solid, workman-like comic book art, which I appreciate, and it tells the story well. And I can't wait to see if our hero kicks the ass of someone. I hope he really does kick their ass in the next scene. So, Mark Millar sort of in a milder mode, in a sense. I have a feeling this may end up being a little disappointing wrapping up in 6 issues, whether they can make the spy end of the story that interesting. Another little criticism I'll throw out is we have various sequences where the nephew is a total loser, keeps getting arrested by the police, goes on these escapades where they steal cars and then get caught. But then other scenes where he's like the toughest badass of them all in the secret agent training, and they dump him in the middle of a Latin American country in just his underwear, and he succeeds beyond their wildest dreams. And if he's so, you know, mother effing tough and can handle all these situations, how come when he's back in England in the projects or with his friends, he's such a wimp and he can't get anything right? You know, you'd think with all these skills that make him such a great secret agent, which also make him kind of the kingpin of his neighborhood if he chose to be a criminal. But instead he's a total loser. There's something fun about the total loser who can be turned into the secret agent, but it's just not, it's not balanced quite right for me. I don't quite believe it. But I still had fun reading it. So, you know, this isn't everybody run out and get secret agent or secret service, but if you're interested in the kinds of things I'm talking about, secret agents and training to be a secret agent, and maybe if you're interested in class things in England, this would definitely be, you know, something to pick up in a trade when it's not too expensive, or if you can find all the individual issues. So anyhow, that's another review in the pocket, and I will probably do at least one more of these. So I'll talk to you all later. This is Sleepy Reader, lunch break over.